The Culture Currency Show is for those who recognize that nuance is key. We don't pretend to have all the answers, but we tackle the issues that affect the majority when speaking of Black America. Our discussions are informed by the host's personal experiences and insights, and we're always open to evolving our perspective as we gain new understanding.
This is the story of two friends from the Bronx who decided to get real, be direct, and impact Black culture. Welcome to Culture Currency, where culture is the value.
Morning.
How you doing today?
I'm alright. I'm a little tired.
Me too.
Yeah.
We was both outside.
Yeah,
so
yeah.
it makes sense.
Yeah, it makes sense. Yeah. With family, chilling.
Yeah. It was
Yeah.
good way to pass
Good way.
time.
Yep. Good way to pass time. But nonetheless, tired.
Tired.
You know.
I ain't on that.
I'm like, it's 10 o'clock.
Nah. Or some days, 9 o'clock, be like, why my eyes getting I'll be like, no! You know, you fight
like a little kid. Yes. You don't feel like a little kid sometimes? It's like, yo, go to sleep.
I do.
Go to sleep.
I be
like, what you missing?
I be fighting. Like,
I don't want to do that for 26. I want to go to sleep.
Yeah, man. So,
yeah,
today's episode.
Yes. Today we're talking about the hard conversations and the importance of having them regardless.
Ooh, baby.
Yeah.
This is going to be a good one.
Yes.
I'm Mahogany.
I'm Age.
And this is Culture Currency.
Where culture
is the value. I started off by just writing some questions down.
Okay.
Like, the first one I put down is, what makes a conversation hard?
That's a good one. Can I answer that?
Yeah.
I think what makes a conversation hard is the way that people see conflict. And everybody sees it different. And if you don't understand your own conflict style, you don't even understand what your problem is for real. You know what I mean? So you could feel like a statue, where it's like, once we have beef or we have a conflict, that's it. There's nowhere to go. And I can feel like we just have to get to the other side. You didn't just get through it. So that's two completely different styles. So that makes it difficult because it's two completely different styles. And I think it's really important to understand your style so that you can work through it in order to be even able to have a conversation. And sometimes it may take one person longer than the other to be ready.
I agree with that. When I engage in hard conversations, it's a matter of being careful with the person I care about. Right? So, when you have to have a hard conversation, obviously some things are a little raw.
Right.
And the approach, how you approach it can change the relationship.
Absolutely.
Right?
Yeah.
So for me, that's always the part that's like, it has to happen.
Right.
But it's like, because you don't want to be misunderstood.
Yes.
You don't want the person to feel attacked.
Right.
All of the things. Because it goes back to what you were just saying.
Yeah.
Like, the style, if you have a certain style of communication, and the other person differs in that, it can be received so differently.
Absolutely. So what you're talking about, like you just said, is like, what's your intention? And the thing about it is, what you're talking from love, right? Where I don't want the person to feel attacked. But sometimes, what if the person that you need to have that whole conversation with does want you to feel attacked? You know what I'm saying? Does want you to feel bad, and you know what I mean? So it's like, what is the intention behind the hard conversation? So it's like checking your own intention. And one thing I always say is, what do you want to get out of this? Is the way you're about to approach is going to get you there or not?
Yep.
You know what I mean? Because it's like, do you want to keep this thing, keep it a beef, you never want to talk again, be raggedy?
But those hard conversations are revelations.
Yeah, y'all.
Like you just finished saying, like, I've had those back and forths that was just supposed to be, for me, it was us trying to work through something.
Right.
For the other person, it was like, you think you.
Right.
You think you.
Yeah.
And now I'm like, oh, this is what you think.
Like, I'm here to put you down right now.
Yeah.
I'm not here to repair anything.
Right. I'm here thinking we in a relationship.
Right.
I've been
a relationship with the enemy.
Right, the enemy.
So it'd be revealing things in those moments.
Absolutely,
sometimes.
absolutely. Another thing you described was you said like not wanting the person to feel this way or feel that way. But even preparing for hard conversations, it takes real prep. Like recently, to me it wasn't a hard conversation, but the person I was having it was a hard conversation for them. And she said, I saw her writing something. I was like, what you writing? She was like, what I want to say to you. And I'm like, oh, that's great. I was like, I'm not trying to be funny, but I love that. Thank you.
Yeah,
You're taking the time.
How you want to approach me.
So she prepared her questions, she prepared and all that, and we had this conversation. But at the end, I felt resolved, and she really didn't. You know what I mean? But again, it's how we see conflict. Sometimes it's harder for some people to get over it than others, and sometimes the things mean more to people than other people. But one thing you can't do is minimize somebody's feelings. So in that moment, I was like, "Yeah, you bugging? Why you still da da da?" I didn't do that. It's like, all right, but like I thought we got through it. Let me know what I'm doing wrong so that I don't continue to do that.
That's the
you know what I'm saying?
How can I bring you to a place of completion?
Right.
You know, with this discussion.
Right.
Because I feel like we were through something.
Right.
But if you're not resolved, then we're not resolved.
Right.
And that's another thing. When it comes down to the hard conversations, I have back and forth with people all the time about the idea of agree to disagree.
Right.
I don't believe in it.
Yeah.
That means you're not resolving.
You're not resolved.
So these things become an issue later.
Right.
Like you didn't get through nothing. We're just saying, I just don't want to deal with it right now, tucking it away.
Right.
And a lot of people have that style of dealing with conflict. And it just doesn't work.
So I want to dig into that a little more agree to disagree. So what if we just don't agree with something? Like, all right, so do you feel like if you still just talk it through or talk it through, as long as you did that, it's good? Because sometimes you do not agree and you're not.
Okay, so it depends on we talking about hard discussion. Right. So though that means that this is a situation that there's some investment.
Right.
This us being in a disagreement state can break this.
Right.
Whereas
this
opinion,
like we said, we talk about
something totally different.
Absolutely.
So us having different opinions on something that really doesn't, like, I can have a different opinion than you. You can have a different opinion than me, but that doesn't, if it's not something within our core values, within our life,
that's different.
We can move past that and just be like, yeah, I just don't agree with you.
Yeah.
That's fine.
Right, that's fine.
When it comes down to the hard conversations, those are important.
Like you said, because it comes to values and your core values and what's most important. So you're right. There's nothing about, because the thing is you can't trust that because it's going to happen again.
Of course,
so if you don't resolve it and get to this is what happened, this is how it impacted me, and this is how it's going to hurt us longer. How can we deal with it? If you don't get to that, it's going to happen again.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
And when you deal with those type of conversations or those type of conflicts, with that understanding of agree to disagree,
right?
People are leaving with resentment.
Yeah, exactly.
Resentment is there whether you want to admit it or not.
Yep.
And that's where the blow-ups come.
Exactly.
We completely broke up in our friendship at one point. We had a discussion about what was bothering me. And even though we had the discussion, that didn't go away. Right? And
I'm not knowing that.
You not knowing that, I didn't know how to deal with that. It was just like, yo, we said what we needed to say. I don't know why it's still sitting with me. But there was obviously a level of resentment there, right? So once it gets to this place and it blows up, it's like, where did this come from? It came from not completely settling this situation.
It's like you said, you talked, but we didn't really
we didn't resolve.
We didn't resolve.
We talked, but we didn't resolve, and that's an important portion. Like when we start talking about these hard conversations, the resolve is the necessity.
Right. And the thing is, you can have a fake hard conversation. You can kind of act like you're having a hard conversation, but you're not getting to
the nitty gritty.
The nitty gritty, which is all of this stuff under it. It's like, so that was just coming in my mind. Like you could sweep it under the rug, but when it's time for you to move, or it's trying to make, say move out the spot, and you move that rug, it's filthy. It's been making you cough the whole time. It's causing you allergies. It's causing all of these symptoms, right? Because you swept it under the rug. And then the thing is, no, you really gotta sweep. You gotta mop.
And that's why you know also what I mean?
I'm going so crazy
gotta really what?
I'm going crazy. I was trying to see with the wax.
You gotta shellac.
You was going left. Like, what's the next one?
You really gotta take the time to understand what it is you're actually feeling and where that's coming from. Like we always talk about taking inventory.
Yes.
And a lot of times when you do have what you believe to be a hard conversation and it's not a hard conversation, it's the only reason you're thinking it's a hard conversation is because there's feeling attached.
Yeah.
But the hard conversation is going through the mud with each other to get to the clean spot, right? And you can't do that if you don't truly understand what your issue is. Right. So I think that's important for people to really identify what their issue truly is.
Exactly.
Because how can you change something, make any adjustments, or even express what it is needs to be expressed about an issue? You don't even understand what the issue is.
Exactly. And then the thing is, like, so say we never talked about certain things, and then we're dealing with what happened on January 4th. That's not the issue. That was a symptom of really what really happened. So what you're describing is like, no, seriously, what is the core issue? When did this first happen? What was the first? It's not what you're dealing with today. It's all the stuff that is happening. This is the straw that broke the camel's back.
What was it prior to this?
Right. So when I say fake conversations, it's actually not just dealing with the straw that broke the camel's back. Is what are all of the things that was led to it. That led to it. Yep. I was about to OD again. Like, how much package is on the camel's hump?
Because we fed us.
Now
we ain't delivering. We just stacking
on the camel on each hump. Nah, but when you brought up one thing I wanted to bring up is agreeing on the time, right? So even when we had I know the conversation that we had after many years, I'm gonna go to that one. We agreed on when we was gonna have that conversation. And I think that sometimes when something is so important to you, you try to force someone into talking about something they're not ready to talk about, and you can't do that.
That's a real thing.
You know what I mean? Because we're like, yeah, but it's important that we gotta resolve it. Yeah, but you gotta get. Everybody needs time to think. Sometimes it may take somebody a certain amount of time to even prepare to have that conversation.
You know what? And that part is really sticky.
Yeah.
And the reason I say it's really sticky is because it becomes a discussion of control. Right? Just because something is uncomfortable for me, the conversation is uncomfortable for me to have in this moment, does that mean that I get to control when we have the conversation? Because if you need to have the conversation, it's obviously bothering you too.
Yeah.
So we have to figure out how to navigate that in a way that it's not making someone else feel like, yeah, you're just controlling when we're going to deal with our issue.
Yeah. I wouldn't see that's control if the person is being avoidant, where we saying like, hey, let's set the time, and we don't set the time. We're like, nah, I'm gonna let you know when. So then you sitting there like, now you wait, like they gonna call and ask, you know what I mean? All that anxiety. No, it's like, yo, listen, all right, listen, we need to talk about this. Can we talk about it later at 9? Or can we talk about it on tomorrow, when, you know what I mean, like having an actual set time. Not I gotta deal with it and I'm gonna let you know when I can. No, that's not cool.
Yeah,
because then you're leaving the other person literally hanging to the point where it could be like, I don't give a fuck no more.
Yeah, actually, I don't want to talk to you. That creates another layer of resentment. So now we already had an issue, and now we just compiled it with another issue.
Exactly. Another thing that I wanted to bring up, when you're having hard conversations, how you're having, right? Because you can be intentional about your why and all that kind of stuff, but how you talking to the person. What's your facial expressions? You know what I mean? Because you can turn somebody off with that. Like, we talking, you think like they expressing themselves and you like.
Well, I mean, if like, that don't come from people trying to resolve things. So that never happens with somebody who's trying to resolve it. That comes from somebody who either doesn't really want to have the conversation or is trying to win. That don't come from people who are trying to resolve or a resolution conversation. That you're not going to deal with that.
Have you ever done it by mistake?
No, I don't think so. But I do know, and that's why when you said that, what kind of faces are you making? I was like, because they got a term, resting bitch face, and different things like that. Some people are able to hide their emotions, some people are not. So you can see different things on their face. It doesn't necessarily mean it means what you think it means, but you can see things on their face. So I don't really sign on to that being a deciding factor of how I respond. It got to be a multitude of things. Like, if your tone is crazy, your facial expression is crazy, you a little puffy. Now I'm going to say,
what's going on? You okay?
We got a problem.
Right.
You know,
so we both describing is like nonverbal communication, because nonverbal communication is important. And somebody's like you said, acting like you can see like they still got that energy, or they like, it's like, yo, do you even want to be here? That's what I'm talking about. Like, yo, dude, like you giving me like you don't even want to be here. Just get ahead. You don't have to sit here and talk to me.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Case in point, our situation, right? Remember in our show, we discussed us standing in front of the store, and I was like, you gave me the nonchalant. And that
it was feel, and it wasn't nonchalant.
But that taught me something.
Oh.
You understand what I'm saying? Don't just assume what this response is, because it has to be multiple things. There has to be multiple things to give you the understanding that this is what it is, right?
Yes.
Like, I could be loud doesn't mean I'm angry. But if I'm loud, my facial expression is saying anger, I may be pounding on something, you angry.
Right.
Ain't no telling me you ain't angry in this moment.
Right.
But that it has to be multiple things. It can't just be one.
So with that, one thing you made me think of is two things: paraphrasing and the importance of question asking. Because you have to get clarity, right? So at that moment, you felt like I was being nonchalant, but really it wasn't. It's like I felt bad. It's like, yo, but why you acting nonchalant? I'm like, nah, I'm not acting nonchalant. It's da-da-da-da-da. And I would have been able to explain it. So it's important in conversations to not just assume. In the hard conversations, ask the questions. Ask the question that's in your head. Not you ask the question and answer it.
Yeah.
Ask the person, yo, why are you looking like that right now? You know what I'm saying? Why your face look like that? Why your face like that?
I do that now.
Yeah, right.
If you notice, like, I ask a lot of questions because I don't want to run away with myself.
Right.
We all have the ability to do that.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Run away with ourselves, feel away.
Assume everything.
Feeling, and then we create a story. And I try to be super intentional with not doing that.
Exactly.
So now I ask a lot more questions.
Yeah. Question asking is so powerful. And another thing in the recent conflict that I just had, the power of paraphrasing, because the person I was talking to was like, she was like, well, you just said da-da-da. I said, no, actually I didn't. I said, I didn't say this, I said this. I said, but I was trying not to turn it into a lesson, so I was like, get away from that. But I'm like, I said, but I appreciate you repeating what I just said. I said, I stayed away from saying this, paraphrasing. I'm like, all right, but be aggravated. So I didn't want to do that. You know what I mean? So I'm like, nah, I appreciate what you did, because that's going to be a turn off. Like, Isha, I'm not sitting here trying to do a lesson. Like, I'm mad. So I'm like, nah, it's great that you just did that. I said, because now you're giving me a chance to clarify what you, how you heard me, because that's not what I meant. Was boom, 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 boom. So it's important that when you're having a hard conversation with somebody, and they're repeat what you just heard them say. All right, so you saying boom, 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 because they be like, oh no. Give them a chance to say, no, I meant this.
And there's another thing that I swear upon now is defining terms. We all believe we speak in the same language, and we're often not.
Yeah.
We define words differently, and we see words differently because of those definitions. And I could say, don't disrespect me. Right. And perfect. You could say, don't disrespect me, but what does that mean to us?
Exactly.
Right? Because if we don't identify what that means to us, and that definition doesn't align, one of us is possibly and high possibility going to disrespect the other without intentional things.
And what's so crazy is that's one of the things that came up, and I was like, I said, please don't make this something that it's not. I said, because it's different levels of disrespect, period. It's a whole spectrum. It's here, there. So you can't put this at the same level of somebody spitting in your face. You know what I'm saying? The level of disrespect that could get you really hurt, or just thing happen where it's like, you being disrespectful. Like, where it could be a conversation and not violence. Yeah. You know what I mean? So it's like there's a spectrum of things.
This is why defining terms is important, right? And this is why in every show I make sure that when I say respect, I say consideration. And the reason I say consideration is because that's the umbrella for it all. Right? When you start thinking of spectrums, it's going to divide everything, which makes it very hard for us to connect. If I say it's lack of consideration, that it's everything.
Understand that.
If you spit on somebody, you're lacking consideration for them. If you lie to somebody, or you're lacking consideration for them. If
it's a term we all could agree to.
Yes.
Yeah.
And so that's important.
Yeah.
Right. Defining those terms, understanding the the core of the foundation of those terms, so that y'all can be on the same page.
Exactly. Where it's something we do agree on now. We
Yeah.
understand what consideration is. It's not really a spectrum there. Consideration is consideration. Yeah.
How do you prepare for hard conversations? Do you have a preparation?
I do. How I prepare for hard conversations is, for one, I just pay attention to myself, how I'm feeling inside. And if I feel like I'm not ready, it's just something that's going on with the stomach where you're not going to be your best self in this conversation. Wait a moment. You can't have it right now. It's not going to come out right. It's just, right? So I wait too emotional. So I wait for myself, find ways to bring it down so I can think. Because right now I'm not thinking I'm going to be disrespectful. I'm going to be all kinds of stuff and then be like, damn, it wasn't even for all of that. It wasn't, you ain't have to do all that. So I'm old enough to have emotional regulation. So emotionally regulate myself before having a conversation. And sometimes I may have to write it down. So if I do want to say disrespectful stuff, I might write it. Where I got it out till I got it off already, and then it's like, damn, I don't got to say it like that. So I may write it, definitely take time to either take a walk or just breathe and calm down and pay attention to my stomach. What is my gut telling me? Is it time to have a conversation, or you got to wait a second? You know what I mean? And then once I feel calm, where it's like, okay, I'm thinking clear, and I could be mature about this, and I'm clear on even what I'm talking about, because you could talk in circles. And then new other stuff coming up, and then you talking about a bunch of things you got to deal with.
And they like, what
the hell, you went everywhere, so you got to deal with in these conversations, you got to deal with one thing at a time. Don't pile a bunch of shit on people.
That's why it's important to have discussions when the issue is happening.
Right.
Because of the fact that if you don't, then there's mad stuff. By the time you talk, there's mad stuff. And now it's an attack.
Exactly. Now it's an attack.
Now it's an attack.
It's like, well, you was holding all of this.
You was holding this and smiling with me.
Yeah, like, you serious?
That becomes real personal.
Yeah.
That becomes real personal. And
what's happened with, I realized what happened with hard conversations is that people are assuming the way the other person is going to respond, so then they don't want to have it like, yeah, because if they do this, and if they do this, I'm not dealing with that. It's just so many assumptions, and no, because if they say anything smart to me, then no, that just means you ain't ready.
It's ego.
Yeah,
it's ego gets involved. But when you dealing with hard conversations, like I don't have hard conversations with strangers.
Right.
There has to be some level of investment.
Absolutely.
Even if it's a business situation, some level of investment.
Yep.
So when you think about relationships that have some level of investment, you gotta be trying to be in the most healthiest mindset.
Right. Yeah.
You know what I mean? To approach it, because it's vital for you to handle yourself.
Right.
You know what I mean?
Yes. That's very good. Right, this is not about strangers, none of it.
The ego, all that. That has to be out the window.
It has to be out the window for the moment.
When you dealing with, like, you're gonna lose a whole business situation because your ego involved. You're gonna lose a friendship because your ego involved.
Right.
You're gonna lose a loving relationship because of ego involved. Get your ego up out of this.
Right.
And ego and love.
Yeah, don't go.
They don't sit in the same spaces, the same as fear and faith.
Right.
They cancel each other out.
They cancel each other
out. You know what I mean? So you gotta understand what this is, really identify it, do the inventory, and really approach it in a way that's the most healthiest.
Yes.
When it comes to me, I found in my past, I used to ghost people. Because we said this in other shows, I'm like, you know better. I always made the assumption, you know what you're doing. Because I was always I'm paying attention to who I'm dealing with, so I'm being mindful, and I expected other people to be doing what I'm doing. And I've learned over the years that is just not how it is. Right. Everybody has a different capacity for different things. Right. They handle things differently, and so you can't make assumptions that people know what they're doing. So today, I do have the conversations. And I have those conversations from a standpoint of getting an understanding of who I'm dealing with, why I'm dealing with them in this way, all of the things. So we always talk about that feelings being an indicator. If something doesn't feel good to me, I automatically start asking myself a bunch of questions.
Good.
Why am I feeling like this? What brought this on? All of the things that's going to give me the answers to, is this a me thing or is this a them thing?
Right.
Because before I approach anybody, I want to know that this ain't my shit.
Right.
If it's my shit, then I need to handle my ish.
Absolutely.
Right? Just that has absolutely nothing to do with it.
Right.
So I need to get that out the way first. And then when I come to the conclusion, now this ain't my ish, this is something that needs to happen, I immediately let it be known that a conversation needs to be had. I don't necessarily need to have it right now. Like, I don't put the pressure on them right now, but I need them to know I have an issue so that they can prepare themselves for a conversation if a conversation it needs to happen.
Absolutely.
Right? Because now it's not catching you off guard. It's not putting you in that, state. But also, I make sure that I have taken full inventory of what the issue is. Like we were just talking about. I need to know what it is so I can be very clear. I make sure that I'm in a mode where I'm be patient.
Right.
Because sometimes the conversation is like I'm saying something this person doesn't really understand and I need to walk them through it.
Right.
It's not like if it's obvious that this person is not invested in misunderstanding me, then I need to invest in helping them to understand.
Right.
But if I find that somebody is invested in misunderstanding me, I'm
it's like no matter what you say,
I'm over it.
Right.
I'm over it.
Right.
A hard conversation unnecessarily because the relationship is down.
Exactly. Right. Good one. And then also, it doesn't mean just because you have the conversation that everything's going to be kumbaya. Maybe after having the conversation, you realize that, like you said, y'all not fit. And that's okay too. Because at the end of the day, it's about respect. So even if you guys are no longer what you were, as long as there's respect and you can be cordial. You see a person,
each other, correct.
You keep it moving. You know what I'm saying? But not the disrespect and the coat shoulder, all the extra tension that you're holding. You know what I mean? Clear the air. We go our separate ways, and that's cool too.
Yep.
You know what I mean?
Yep. And nobody's leaving wondering. Like that, to me, is an issue. Like, I think that when I was in my ghosting stage, I was foul. You foul.
Right.
Like, if you truly cared about somebody, I had a relationship, to leave them guessing without giving them the information is whack on your part, but also it lacks the ability of giving them the tools to do better if they did do wrong the first time. It's like, how they gonna fix what they broke if they don't know what they broke?
But you gotta care about that. You gotta care about that. And the thing is, like, so many of us are so comfortable. I feel like you sweeping stuff under your own rug of life. You know what I mean? When you ghosting people, you're not speaking on how you feel because you feel like they know.
It's a coward way to move. Honestly, it's a coward way to move. I didn't see it that way back then because, like I said, the way that it translated to me is you know what you're doing.
Right.
And so why am I wasting my time with somebody who knows what they're doing?
Exactly.
But in reality, even if you believe they know what they're doing, why you ain't addressing?
Why you ain't addressing? Exactly. So the thing is, so then you being passive.
Exactly.
You basically let somebody walk over you. You let somebody violate. And then you didn't address them about violating.
You so mad at yourself that you're projecting.
Yep.
And now it's their fault. And to allow things you didn't want.
And that's called passive aggressive behavior. It's nothing more passive aggressive than ghosting or just not telling somebody how you feel about it.
Absolutely.
You know what I mean? And letting them know. And not letting them know in an assertive way. You did this, you did that. I'm not feeling this, but we won't give them a chance to respond. You deal with them or you don't. You feel like they full of shit or they genuine, whatever it is, but you addressed it. There's no mystery here.
There's no mystery.
There you go. I wanted to say one thing about when having a conversation, like the words like always, you always, like I feel like you'll lose every time using those kind of terms because they're going to come up in a time when they didn't. You know what I mean? Like, what about that time? It's like nothing is ever always. You know what I mean? So keep it in context and refrain from using those things and stay focused.
We all know that there's no such thing as always. So when people say always, you know that they're talking about majority of their interaction. So I think that most times people harp on those words just to win.
Sometimes,
most times,
I don't know,
just to win. Because we all know there's no always. So like, why are you picking that out of everything I said? You're picking that. So I do agree with you. Just keep it out of the conversation. So that's not something that can be utilized. But I do think that is used as a
well, the times that I've been affected by always, I really feel like the person feel like always, and I'm like, yo, how am I getting no credit for the times that I did? How are you saying always? So I feel affected by it, like, yo, you serious? You gonna say always? Like I'm just always like this? I'm not being belligerent. I'm really feeling like, wow, that's how you feel? Like none of my good deeds meant nothing? I'll take it literally when somebody say always.
And that's why you can't. It shouldn't be a part of the vocabulary. You should be intentional with not using it. I mean, all of us slip up here and
Yeah,
there.
right.
But be intentional with not using it. And just be intentional with what you're saying to the people that you're engaging with anyway. Because no one wants to feel unappreciated.
Right.
So if you say you always doing this, that means they never did that.
Right.
That's gonna make them feel away.
Because I feel like that could be manipulative on the other part too, where it's like you want to let the person know how you feel. So now you want to beat them down so much that it's like you just a piece of shit. You always do this. You know what I'm saying? Like you never do nothing right.
But always is just not a thing.
Right.
That's why I say that. Like, it's not a
but
thing.
that's a good thing to keep in mind. Always is not a thing. Just keep it pushing.
Yeah.
But it's like, damn, do you fully feel like, wait, that's my... But that's a question. The question asking, right? Like, do you really feel like it's always? Instead of like, why you say that? Do you feel... That's a good response. Okay, well, do you really feel like always? Do you really feel like that? But being focused on what you're talking about, because when you're having conversations, and it's important to prepare as if you're writing a paper or something, an outline, because you could be all over the place and y'all don't get to no point. Y'all just going back and forth. You say something always, now you going on for that, and then you going on for that. You all over, running all around.
That usually happens when you're trying to win. That's the thing. Everything should be intention. All right. So if you're being intentional, always go into a discussion with an objective. What are we trying to get out of this? Period. And anytime the discussion starts going way away from that, you bring it back.
That's right.
You know what I mean?
Somebody has to bring it back.
Regular conversation.
Yeah, right.
We start all over the tangent, and then we like, all right, we got to bring it back.
Right.
To here.
Right.
So if the objective is to resolve something, then make sure that when you start seeing that this where we're going is not resolving this, we're going in circles.
Right.
Bring it back.
Bring it back.
Where you could get it to where resolved.
Yep.
Is.
And I want to go back to the manipulation thing, because I feel like some people are masters of that, and they will literally try to take the conversation off because there's too many good points that's being hit,
and that's
don't
why
let them do that.
That's why I said what I said, because a part of that is I'm gonna point at this little thing to get your attention off of this thing.
Exactly.
I am huge on but how about this?
Exactly.
How about we get back to
play
this?
with me like
that.
you're
not playing in my face. You're not playing in my face.
Yeah.
So let's sum it up for our audience. Let's sum it up. What are the takeaways from this discussion?
For me, I would say that the takeaways are really understanding how you see conflict. Is it something that can be resolved or not? Understand that people see conflict differently. Knowing that resolving conflict, you have to be intentional. Like you said, you can't go in there aggressive and attacking. It's not going to solve anything. So what is it that you would like to get out of it? Basically, what is it that you want to get out of the hard conversation you're about to have? And make sure that anything that you say that comes out of your mouth is in alignment with it.
I think I would just go back to what I said. Hard conversations happen where there's an investment. And so think about that investment when going into the conversation so that you handle it with care. I'm Mahogany.
I'm Ish.
And this is Culture Currency.
Where culture
is the value.
Make sure to like, share,
subscribe, and comment.
Peace. Oh, I said peace.